Hey, welcome back to Chic on the Cheap. Okay, so this week I'm going to show you a project that may take a couple of weeks to show you. When we were little and growing up, I was the oldest of 5 kids, 3 girls, 2 boys, and my mom used to always make us matching Easter dresses, which I loved. I thought it was so much fun. And so now that I have kids, I have a little boy, Charlie, and I got one on the way actually here in June. I want to carry on the tradition and make matching outfits. So this Easter I'm going to make Charlie and my husband Caleb matching outfits to match a blouse for me. So today I'm going to show you the first project, which is a men's tie. That's all I could get my husband to wear that was matching this year. So I'm going to show you a cheap way to make a men's tie. And actually the fabric I'm going to use I found for $2.99. It was just a remnant back in Goodwill, which they actually sell a lot of fabric remnants, so go back and check it out sometime if you like to sew. Okay, so here is an easy way to make a tie for this is a men's size tie, but later on I'm going to show you how to make a boy's size tie, so check it out. Now the easiest way to do this is actually to buy a tie that you can take apart. You can get them for 99 cents at Goodwill, and when you have a tie, just take apart that back seam and open it up like this, and you're going to see that it's connected at a seam down the middle of the tie. Take that seam out so you have 2 long pieces, lay them out on the fabric that you're going to make your tie out of, and cut around them. Now make sure at the base you cut a little bit extra because we're not taking that lining piece out, so you need to allow for a seam. So cut a little bit wider at the base, then follow along the edges, and here are the 2 outer sections of your tie. This is the part that people will see. Now next we're going to copy those lining pieces. I just used a scrap that I had from the lining of a dress. Just lay them out on the lining, pin them down, and then cut around them. And again, give yourself some extra room because you need that extra room to sew the seams. So just cut around them. And once you have those cut out, you should be left with your 2 bottom lining sections. And they will look a little bit like this. Next, you're going to make the inner lining section. When you take that tie apart, you're going to find kind of a thick inner lining on the inside. You can choose to reuse that or make a new one. I just made a new one. Again, take the seam out that holds the 2 long pieces together and just copy them exactly. And when you're done with that, you have all the pieces cut out that you will need for this tie. Okay, your first step is to take those 2 lining pieces, overlap them where you cut them out, and then just sew them together with either a straight seam or a zigzag seam. It should look kind of like this. Next, take your 2 outer pieces and lay them perpendicular to each other at the middle seam. It should look kind of like this. Make sure you lay them perpendicular and then sew them together with right sides facing. Then just take that to your ironing board and press that seam down really flat and nice so it'll look good when the finished product is complete. Next, we're going to add those bottom and top lining pieces. All you need to do is lay them front side to front side, so right sides together, and pin it in place, and then just sew around the edges of that piece. And once you have the seams sewn in, you can kind of clip the corners a little bit to help it fold out nicer, and then just flip it inside out, and this will give you your finished look for the bottom and the top of the tie. So do this for both the top and the bottom. Next, take that inner lining piece, lay it down centered on your tie, you can pin it if you need to, and tuck it into the base and the top of that tie so it's nice and neat in there. Then take your tie to the ironing board and you're going to make some important creases. Iron it around that inner lining piece on both sides so you have a nice crisp edge. And then you're going to, on one side, that you should have a little bit of extra material, just fold under and iron a little seam in, and that you're going to hand sew into place with a nice little catch stitch to finish this tie. And do make sure that you take any pins out of that inner lining piece before you sew that seam shut because you won't be able to get them out later. And here's the finished product when you're all done. It's really a fun project and it's really not that hard to do. I think I did this in just a couple hours. The trick is to make sure that you get this seam right here really nice and put together well with a hand-sewn seam. So you're just really catching that edge with a really nice fine seam to finish it off, and it gives it a really nice tailored look. So there's your final look. So in the weeks to come, I'll show you Charlie's outfit, which is going to be a little boy-sized tie, a vest, and probably a hat. And then maybe I'll give you a sneak peek into the maternity blouse that I'm going to be making for myself out of whatever is left from this scrap of material. So it should be a fun, cheap way to make some matching Easter outfits. Alright, well thanks so much for joining me this week. I hope you've had fun. I hope you learned something that will help you make something chic on the cheap. And make sure to join me right back here next week for more great lessons that will help you save money and look good.